The great meeting room of the Galactic Council was filled with nervous energy. Alien beings from 12 different worlds sat around a huge circular table. Their faces showed fear and worry. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few looked like they were made of crystal. All of them were scared. Admiral Zethkar stood at the center of the room. He was tall and blue, with 4 arms that moved as he talked. His voice was deep and carried across the room easily. "The Devourer fleet is coming," he said. "They are heading toward the Kepler sector. Our scouts have counted 73 ships. Each one is big enough to destroy a planet." The room became very quiet. Everyone knew about the Devourers. They were an old race that traveled from star to star. They would eat everything on a planet, take all its metals and water, then move on. They left nothing behind but dead rocks floating in space. "They already destroyed the Altair colonies," Zethkar continued. "The mining worlds near Beta Centauri are gone too. Millions of people died. A creature that looked like a giant fish with arms raised one of its fins. This was Counselor Veltara from the Aquatic Federation. "We must work together," she said. "Every world must send their best warships. The Vorthons will send 27 battle cruisers. The Crystalline Collective offers 15 dreadnoughts," added another voice. This came from a being that looked like it was made of living glass. One by one, each alien race announced how many ships they would send. The numbers were big. The hive minds would send 32 vessels. The Silicon Brotherhood offered 18 heavy destroyers. The Gas Cloud Empire promised 41 attack ships. As each race spoke, the total grew larger. Soon they were talking about hundreds of ships and thousands of crew members. It would be the biggest military force the galaxy had ever seen. Then it was Earth's turn to speak. Ambassador Kate Morrison stood up slowly. She was a human woman in her 50s with gray hair and tired eyes. She had been Earth's voice in the Galactic Council for 10 years. She knew these aliens well, and they knew her. "Earth will send 1 ship," she said in a calm voice. The room went dead silent. For a moment, nobody moved or spoke. Then the silence broke like a dam bursting. Voices rose from all around the table. Some aliens made angry clicking sounds. Others roared or hissed. The crystal beings made a sound like breaking glass. "1 ship?" Admiral Zethkar's voice was louder than all the rest. "Did we hear correctly? Humanity will send only 1 ship against 73 world destroyers?" Kate nodded. "The UES Liberty will represent Earth in this battle." "This is a joke," said Counselor Thex from the hive minds. He looked like a giant ant with too many eyes. "Either humans think they are better than everyone else, or they are cowards hiding behind false bravery." "Perhaps Earth does not understand the danger," suggested Veltara. "These are not pirates or raiders. The Devourers have destroyed entire civilizations." Kate remained calm. She folded her hands behind her back and looked around the room. "Earth's decision is final. Captain Jake Sullivan and his crew will join the fleet aboard the Liberty." "This is madness," shouted another alien. "We are planning the defense of 12 worlds. Billions of lives are at stake, and humanity sends 1 tiny ship." The arguments continued for an hour. Some aliens thought Earth was being selfish. Others believed humans were stupid. A few suggested that maybe Earth was planning to run away when the real fighting started. But Kate Morrison said nothing more. She had her orders from Earth Command. They were very clear. Send 1 ship. Send Captain Sullivan. Trust the plan. As the meeting finally ended, the alien representatives were still angry. They made plans to put Earth's single ship far away from the real battle. Let the humans watch from a safe distance while the real warriors did the fighting. Admiral Zethkar approached Kate as the room emptied. "Ambassador Morrison," he said, "I have fought many battles. I have seen what the Devourers can do. 1 ship, even a good one, cannot make a difference." Kate looked up at the tall alien. "Admiral, has Earth ever let the galaxy down before?" Zethkar thought about this. In the 10 years since humans joined the Galactic Council, they had always kept their promises. When the Silicon Brotherhood was attacked by space pirates, Earth sent help. When the Aquatic Federation lost a colony ship, human rescue teams found the survivors. Earth was small compared to the other civilizations, but they were reliable. "No," he admitted. "Earth has always honored its commitments." "Then trust us now," Kate said. 1 ship is all we need." As Kate walked back to her own ship, she thought about the message she had received from Earth Command 3 days ago. It was short and simple, but it told her everything she needed to know. The message said, "Send Sullivan. 1 ship sufficient. Galaxy not ready for more." Kate had worked with Earth's military for many years. She knew they never made empty boasts. If they said one ship was enough, they had a good reason. She also knew something the aliens didn't. Jake Sullivan wasn't just any captain. He was one of Earth's special commanders. His ship, the Liberty, wasn't just any vessel. And his crew had trained for years for exactly this kind of fight. But as Kate reached her quarters and prepared for sleep, she wondered if even she really understood what Earth was planning. The Devourers were the most dangerous enemy the galaxy had ever faced. Hundreds of alien ships with thousands of years of experience were preparing to fight them. And Earth was sending Jake Sullivan with 43 crew members in one ship. Either Earth Command knew something nobody else did, or they were all about to watch humanity make the biggest mistake in galactic history. Kate closed her eyes and tried not to think about it. In 3 days, they would all find out which one it was. 3 days later, the combined fleet gathered at the edge of space near the Kepler sector. It was an amazing sight. Over 400 alien warships floated in perfect formation. Some were long and thin like needles. Others were round like balls. The biggest ones looked like floating cities with weapons sticking out everywhere. Each ship glowed with energy shields that made them look like colored soap bubbles. Weapon ports opened and closed as crews ran final tests. Communication signals flashed between vessels as commanders coordinated their battle plans. And there, looking very small among all these giants, sat the UES Liberty. The human ship was different from all the others. It was smooth and white with no visible weapons or armor. Compared to the alien warships, it looked like a child's toy floating among real battleships. Captain Jake Sullivan stood on the bridge of the Liberty, looking at the main screen. His crew of 43 people worked quietly at their stations. Everyone was calm and focused, running through their pre-battle checks. "Captain," called Lieutenant Amy Foster from the communications station. She was young, maybe 25, with short brown hair and bright eyes. "Admiral Zethkar wants to talk again. He's asking about our battle position." Jake smiled, but there was no humor in it. "Tell the Admiral that the Liberty will take point position." Amy blinked in surprise. "Sir, did you say point position?" "You heard me right. We're going in first." Lieutenant Commander Ben Hayes walked over to Jake's command chair. Ben was Jake's oldest friend and his second in command. They had served together for 12 years, fighting in the Titan War and the Jupiter colony crisis. Ben knew Jake better than anyone. "The alien fleets are setting up defensive positions," Ben said quietly. "Standard galactic battle doctrine. They plan to absorb the enemy's first attack, then hit back hard." Jake nodded. "That's how they always fight. Big formations, heavy armor, wear the enemy down slowly. And our orders, sir?" Jake turned to look at his friend. Ben could see something in Jake's eyes that he recognized. It was the same look Jake had before the Battle of Europa, when they were outnumbered 50-1 but somehow won anyway. "We're going to show them why Earth only sent one ship," Jake said. On the main screen, space sensors showed the Devourer fleet approaching. Each enemy ship looked like a dark mountain floating through space. Their hulls were black and covered with strange symbols that seemed to move and shift. The biggest ship, their flagship, was 15 kilometers long and looked like a giant factory with weapons attached. 73 contacts confirmed, reported Lieutenant Sam Parker from the sensor station. "The flagship is massive. It's showing energy readings off our charts." "How long until they reach weapons range?" Jake asked. 22 minutes at current speed," Sam answered. Jake pressed a button on his chair that opened a channel to the entire crew. "All hands, this is the captain. In 20 minutes we will engage the Devourer fleet. You all know what we're here to do. Trust your training, trust each other, and trust your ship. Earth is counting on us." He closed the channel and looked around the bridge. These people had trained with him for 3 years. They knew their jobs perfectly. More importantly, they knew secrets that the rest of the galaxy didn't. "Amy, open a channel to Admiral Zethkar." "Channel open, sir." "Admiral, this is Captain Sullivan. The Liberty is moving to attack position." There was a pause before Zethkar's voice came through the speakers. "Captain, you cannot engage the entire fleet alone. Fall back to the defensive line. Let our heavy ships take the first assault." "Negative, Admiral. We have this handled." "Captain Sullivan, I respect human courage, but this is suicide. Your ship is tiny compared to theirs. You have no chance." Jake looked at Ben, who shrugged and smiled. They had heard this before. "Admiral, with respect, you don't know what our ship can do." "I can see your specifications in our database," Zethkar replied. "The Liberty is listed as a light cruiser with standard weapons and shielding. You cannot possibly stand against world-killer vessels. Jake's smile got bigger. Admiral, when we joined the Galactic Council, Earth submitted basic information about our ships. We didn't lie, but we didn't tell you everything either. There was another long pause. What are you saying, Captain? I'm saying that the specifications in your database are for our old ships. The ones we used to use. The Liberty is something new. Ben walked over to the weapons station and began entering commands. All systems online, Captain. Primary and secondary weapons ready. Special systems charged and standing by. Jake nodded. Navigation, plot intercept course for the enemy flagship. Maximum acceleration, sir. That will put us in the middle of their entire fleet, warned Lieutenant Carol Davis from the navigation station. I'm counting on it, Jake replied. The Liberty began to move forward, leaving the alien defensive formation behind. On the communication channels, Jake could hear alien commanders arguing about what the humans were doing. They've lost their minds, someone said. Should we follow them? Asked another voice. Let them go, came Admiral Zethkar's response. We cannot save them if they insist on throwing their lives away. But as the Liberty accelerated toward the Devourer fleet, Jake noticed something interesting on his sensors. The alien ships were following his progress very carefully. Their weapons were tracking the small human vessel as it raced across space. They're scared, Ben observed. Of us? Amy asked. But we're just one small ship. That's exactly why they're scared, Jake explained. They can't figure out why we're so confident. They're wondering what they don't know about us. The Devourer fleet was close enough now that Jake could see individual weapon ports opening on their hulls. Energy was building up inside their main guns. In 5 minutes, the shooting would start. Jake sat back in his captain's chair and activated systems that didn't appear in any galactic database. The Liberty might look like a simple cruiser, but appearances could be very deceiving. All stations report ready, Ben announced. Then let's go to work, Jake said. The battle began exactly at 800 ship time, when the first Devourer vessel opened fire. The enemy ships moved forward in a perfect line, like a wall of death moving through space. Each vessel was huge, covered in dark armor that seemed to absorb light. Strange symbols glowed along their hulls in colors that hurt to look at directly. The alien fleet responded first, just as their battle plans required. Hundreds of energy beams lit up the darkness between the two forces. Plasma torpedoes streaked across space like falling stars. Exotic weapons that most humans had never seen filled the void with deadly light. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The alien commanders had coordinated their attack perfectly. Every shot was aimed to hit the enemy at maximum effectiveness. This was the result of thousands of years of galactic warfare experience. The Devourers fired back with weapons that made the alien attack look small. Energy beams as thick as city blocks cut through space. Missiles the size of buildings launched from hidden ports. Some weapons didn't use energy at all, but twisted space itself into harmful shapes. The first alien casualties happened in seconds. 3 crystal ships from the Crystalline Collective simply shattered like glass windows hit by rocks. A Vorthan battlecruiser spun out of control, its hull cracked open and leaking atmosphere. 27 crew members died before emergency systems could seal the breach. Liberty, this is Admiral Zethkar, came the transmission over the communication system. Fall back to defensive position immediately. You are too small to fight these monsters. Captain Jake Sullivan ignored the message completely. Navigation, set course for the enemy flagship. Full acceleration. Sir, that ship is 15 kilometers long, warned Lieutenant Sam Parker. Our entire vessel could fit inside one of their weapon bays. That's exactly why we're going after it, Jake replied calmly. Ben Hayes looked at his old friend with concern. Jake, even with our new systems, that's a big risk. Sometimes the biggest risk is playing it safe, Jake answered. Amy, open a channel to all ships in the fleet. Channel open, sir. Jake's voice went out to over 400 alien vessels. This is Captain Jake Sullivan of the UES Liberty. All ships maintain your current positions and observe. Do not interfere with our attack. Before anyone could respond, Jake gave the order that changed everything. Engineering, activate the real engines. The Liberty suddenly shot forward faster than any ship the aliens had ever seen. In seconds, the small human vessel crossed a distance that should have taken several minutes. It moved through the crossfire between the two fleets like it was dancing, avoiding every shot with impossible precision. How are they moving so fast? Someone asked over the open communication channel. What kind of engines do they have? Demanded another voice. Jake didn't answer. Instead, he spoke to his weapons officer. Ben, target the flagship's main reactor. Prepare to fire main weapon. Main weapon ready, sir. The Liberty's main weapon was not a laser or a plasma cannon. It was not a missile or an energy beam. It was something that no one in the galaxy had ever seen before. A controlled singularity, no bigger than a marble launched at near light speed. When Jake gave the order to fire, the weapon created a tiny black hole and shot it directly into the heart of the enemy flagship. The effect was instant and complete. The 15-kilometer Devourer flagship simply disappeared, not destroyed or exploded, but consumed from the inside out as space and time folded in on itself. Where the massive ship had been floating just moments before, there was now nothing but empty space. The entire battlefield went silent. For almost 30 seconds, no one fired a shot. Both fleets just floated in space, trying to understand what they had just witnessed. What did you do? Admiral Zethkar's voice finally broke the silence. He sounded afraid. Jake's answer was calm and professional. We eliminated the primary threat. Sam, target the next largest vessel. But the remaining Devourer ships were not finished fighting. Seeing their flagship destroyed seemed to make them angry beyond reason. All 72 remaining vessels abandoned their formation and rushed toward the Liberty with suicidal fury. All alien ships clear the area immediately, Jake transmitted. Amy, activate the field generators. Field generators online, Amy reported. Suddenly, the Liberty seemed to grow larger, but not in a way that made sense. The ship itself didn't change size, but the space around it began to bend and twist. A bubble of distorted reality formed around the human vessel. Every Devourer ship that entered this bubble began to slow down dramatically. Their massive hulls stretched and twisted as if someone was looking at them through a funhouse mirror. Time itself moved differently inside Jake's field. Time dilation field active, Ben announced, though everyone could see it working. We're operating at a different temporal rate than everything else. From the alien fleet's perspective, the Liberty appeared and disappeared around the Devourer vessels like a ghost. Each time it appeared, another controlled singularity launched from its weapons. Each launch meant another enemy ship vanished into an artificial black hole. The Devourers tried to fight back, but their weapons moved too slowly. By the time their energy beams reached where the Liberty had been, the human ship was already somewhere else, destroying another target. Lieutenant Carol Davis counted down the enemy ships as they disappeared. 68 contacts remaining, 64, 59, 43. The away. Alien fleet watched in stunned silence, as one small human ship systematically destroyed the most dangerous enemy the galaxy had ever known. Ship after ship vanished into twisted space-time until finally, there were none left. The battle lasted exactly 17 minutes from start to finish. When the last Devourer vessel disappeared, Jake ordered the field generator shut down. The Liberty returned to normal time and space, floating quietly in the middle of what had been a battlefield. Liberty to all ships, Jake transmitted. Threat eliminated. All vessels may stand down and return to normal operations. The communication channel stayed quiet for almost a full minute before Admiral Zethkar finally found his voice. Captain Sullivan, I believe the Galactic Council needs to have a very serious conversation with Earth. 12 hours after the battle, the emergency council meeting took place aboard Admiral Zethkar's flagship. The huge conference room was filled with representatives from every species in the fleet. Their faces showed mixtures of fear, confusion, and something that might have been respect. Ambassador Kate Morrison sat at one end of the long table with Captain Jake Sullivan beside her. Both humans looked calm and relaxed, as if they had just finished a routine training exercise instead of the most important battle in galactic history. Admiral Zethkar stood at the head of the table, his forearms folded across his chest. Captain Sullivan, before we begin any formal discussions, I must ask a direct question. What exactly is the UES Liberty? Jake looked around the room at all the alien faces watching him. The Liberty is a standard Earth Defense Force vessel, Admiral. Nothing more, nothing less, and standard. The word came from Counselor Veltara, the fish-like representative of the Aquatic Federation. Captain, we witnessed your ship destroy 73 enemy vessels in 17 minutes. That is not standard by any definition, we understand. Kate Morrison leaned forward slightly. Perhaps the problem is with your definition of standard. Counselor Thex from the Hive Minds clicked his mandibles in agitation. Ambassador, we have detailed specifications for every human vessel in our databases. The Liberty is listed as a light cruiser with basic armaments and standard shielding, yet we watched it perform impossible feats. The specifications in your database are accurate, Kate replied. For the ships we used to build. Admiral Zethkar's voice carried a dangerous edge. Are you saying that Earth has been lying to the Galactic Council? Not lying, Jake said calmly. We simply haven't updated our records in a while. The room erupted in angry voices. Several aliens stood up from their chairs, shouting in languages that the translation systems could barely handle. Others made threatening gestures or sounds. Kate waited for the noise to die down before continuing. 300 years ago, Earth made first contact with the Altair Republic. We were invited to join the galactic community as a junior member. We were expected to follow established protocols and contribute resources when needed. She paused and looked around the room. What the galaxy didn't realize is that humanity had been preparing for contact for generations. We knew we weren't alone in the universe. We knew that someday we would meet other civilizations, and we knew that some of them might not be friendly. Captain Sullivan activated a holographic projector in the center of the table. A three-dimensional image of the Liberty appeared, rotating slowly so everyone could see it clearly. Earth's military doctrine is based on a simple principle, he said. Every ship must be capable of defending our entire species if necessary. Impossible, scoffed a representative from the Silicon Brotherhood. No single vessel could stand against a coordinated fleet attack from a major power. You're thinking like the galaxy thinks, Kate answered. More ships, bigger weapons, heavier armor. Humanity took a completely different approach. Jake manipulated the holographic controls and the image of the Liberty changed. Layers of the ship became transparent, revealing internal systems that looked nothing like conventional space technology. The Liberty carries weapons that manipulate fundamental forces, Jake explained. Controlled singularities for primary attack, temporal distortion fields for defense and tactical advantage, matter conversion systems for unlimited ammunition. Each system is designed to neutralize threats regardless of their size or numbers. A new voice spoke from across the table. It belonged to Commander Yultar of the Gas Cloud Empire, a being that looked like living smoke in a containment suit. These technologies are theoretical at best. Our scientists have worked on similar projects for centuries without success. Your scientists were trying to make them big enough to mount on large ships, Jake replied. We made them small enough to fit on vessels that can be operated by minimal crews. Admiral Zethkar studied the holographic display carefully. Captain, even with these advanced systems, your ship was outnumbered 73-1. The tactical situation should have been hopeless. Jake smiled for the first time since the meeting began. Admiral, you're still thinking in terms of conventional warfare. Numbers only matter if you're fighting the same kind of battle everyone else fights. What do you mean? Asked Veltara. The Devourers fought exactly the way we expected them to fight, Jake explained. Big formations, overwhelming firepower, coordinated attacks. It's the same way every major space force in the galaxy fights because it's what works most of the time. Kate picked up the explanation. Humanity learned a long time ago that if everyone fights the same way, you win by fighting differently. The holographic image changed again, showing the battle from different angles. The aliens could see how the Liberty had moved through the enemy formation, using speed and precision instead of armor and heavy weapons. Your ship was never where they expected it to be, observed Commander Yultar. Exactly, Jake nodded. They couldn't hit what they couldn't predict. And our weapons didn't need to penetrate their armor or overwhelm their shields. Singularity weapons ignore conventional defenses completely. Counselor Thex leaned forward in his chair. You speak as if this battle strategy is common knowledge on Earth. It is, Kate said simply. Every human military officer learns these principles from the beginning of their training. The room fell quiet as the aliens absorbed this information. Finally, Admiral Zethkar asked the question they were all thinking. Ambassador Morrison, how many ships like the Liberty does Earth possess? Kate looked at Jake, who nodded slightly. Currently, Earth Defense Force operates 1,700 vessels of Liberty-class or equivalent capability. The silence that followed was so complete that the only sound was the gentle hum of the ship's life support systems. 1,700, whispered Veltara. Each one capable of what we witnessed today? Each one crewed by humans trained from childhood to think independently, adapt instantly, and never surrender, Kate confirmed. Each one designed to operate alone against impossible odds if necessary. Admiral Zethkar sat down heavily in his chair. Why didn't you tell us this before? Jake answered this question. Because the galaxy wasn't ready to know. You've seen how your people react to new ideas. If we had revealed our true capabilities immediately, fear would have driven you to attack us. And now? Asked Thex. Now you've seen what we can do, Kate replied. You know that attacking Earth would be a very bad idea, but you've also seen that we use our power to defend the galaxy, not conquer it. The meeting continued for several more hours. But the important part was over. The galaxy now knew that humanity was not the weak junior member they had assumed. Earth was potentially the strongest single military force in known space. As the aliens filed out of the conference room, each lost in their own thoughts, Admiral Zethkar approached Kate and Jake privately. I must ask, he said quietly, if Earth has 1,700 ships like the Liberty, why did you really send only one to fight the Devourers? Kate smiled. Because one was all we needed, Admiral. And because we wanted to make a point. What point? That true strength doesn't come from having the biggest fleet or the most weapons, Jake answered. It comes from making every single unit so effective that numbers become meaningless. 2 days after the emergency council meeting, the alien fleets began their journey home. Each group of ships carried the same cargo, a story that would change how the galaxy thought about humanity forever. Captain Jake Sullivan stood on the bridge of the Liberty, watching the last of the alien vessels disappear into hyperspace. His crew was relaxed now, running routine maintenance checks and preparing for their own trip back to Earth. All alien ships have departed the sector, reported Lieutenant Amy Foster from the communications station. We're receiving final thanks from Admiral Zethkar. What does he say? Jake asked. Amy read from her screen. Message reads, Captain Sullivan and crew of the UES Liberty, the Galactic Council will never forget what you have done here. Safe journey home. Ben Hayes walked over to Jake's command chair. Think things will be different when we get back to Earth? Jake considered this question carefully. Probably. The galaxy knows our secret now. That changes everything. Are you worried about it? No, Jake replied honestly. Secrets are useful, but they're also dangerous. Better that everyone knows where they stand. Lieutenant Sam Parker looked up from the sensor station. Captain, we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth Command. Put it through. The main screen flickered and Admiral Lisa Grant appeared. She was the head of Earth Defense Force, a woman in her 60s with silver hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Captain Sullivan, congratulations on a successful mission, she said without preamble. Your battle reports have been reviewed and approved. Well done. Thank you, Admiral. The crew performed excellently. I'm sure they did. Now I need to brief you on some changes that are coming. The Galactic Council has requested a formal review of Earth's military capabilities and our status within the galactic community. Jake nodded. This was expected. What kind of review, Admiral? They want to reclassify Earth from a junior member to something they're calling a major defensive partner. It comes with new responsibilities but also new privileges, such as... Admiral Grant smiled slightly. Earth will have a permanent seat on the Galactic Security Council. We'll have input on all major military decisions affecting member worlds, and will be expected to respond to threats anywhere in known space. Ben whistled softly. That's a big change from being the small newcomers. It is, Grant agreed, having heard Ben's comment. Which brings me to the real reason for this call. Captain Sullivan, how do you feel about becoming humanity's first galactic defense coordinator? Jake blinked in surprise. Admiral, I'm not sure I understand. The Council wants a human officer to command joint operations when major threats arise. Someone who understands both human and alien military thinking. Your name was the first one suggested. I'm honored, Admiral, but I'm not sure I'm the right choice. You destroyed an entire invasion fleet with 1 ship and 43 crew members, Grant replied. I'd say you're exactly the right choice. Amy spoke up from her station. Captain, we're receiving multiple incoming transmissions. Looks like news services from 12 different worlds, Jake sighed. I suppose word has gotten out. The story is spreading fast, Admiral Grant confirmed. Most alien news services are calling it the miracle of Kepler sector. Some are using phrases like the day the galaxy changed and when 1 ship was enough. How are their governments reacting? Ben asked, mixed responses. Some are nervous about Earth's hidden capabilities. Others are relieved that we're on their side. A few are asking if they can purchase our technology. And our answer to that last request? Jake inquired. The same as always. Earth technology stays on Earth ships, crewed by Earth personnel. We'll help defend the galaxy, but we won't arm it with weapons it's not ready to handle responsibly. This made sense to Jake. Humanity had learned hard lessons about the dangers of advanced technology. The Titan War had started because different Earth colonies gained access to weapons they couldn't control properly. Admiral, what about the other ships in our fleet? Are they going to be revealed too? Eventually, yes. The galaxy knows we have 1,700 vessels like the Liberty. They're going to want proof that we're not exaggerating our capabilities. Jake understood the implications. Earth had been carefully building its defense fleet for 3 centuries, always in secret, always preparing for the day when they might need to defend themselves or their allies. Now that day had come and gone, and the secret was out. There's one more thing, Admiral Grant continued. The Aquatic Federation has formally requested that Earth establish a permanent naval presence in their sector. It seems they're worried about other threats that might emerge. Other threats, Admiral? Intelligence suggests that the Devourers weren't working alone. There may be other hostile forces moving through unexplored space. The galaxy is starting to realize that they need friends who can fight battles they can't win themselves. Ben looked thoughtful. So we've gone from being the small, weak newcomers to being the galaxy's protectors? In a sense, yes. Earth's position in galactic politics has changed dramatically in the space of one battle. Jake considered all of this information. 3 days ago, he was the captain of a single ship on a routine mission. Now he was apparently being offered a position as humanity's representative in galactic military affairs. Admiral, can I have some time to think about the coordinator position? Of course. Take all the time you need. But remember, Captain, you've already proven that one human can make a difference. Now the galaxy is asking us to do it on a larger scale. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge of the Liberty quiet, except for the usual operational sounds. So what do you think, Captain? Amy asked. Are you going to take the job? Jake looked around at his crew, these people who had followed him into an impossible battle and helped him win it. They were good people, skilled and brave and completely trusted. I think, he said slowly, that someone needs to show the galaxy that Earth can be trusted with the power we've revealed. Someone needs to prove that humans use strength to protect, not to dominate. And you think that someone is you? Ben asked with a grin. Jake smiled back. Well, I did just demonstrate that one ship can change everything. Maybe it's time to find out what one human can do in galactic politics. As the Liberty began its journey back to Earth, Jake thought about the future. The galaxy would never again underestimate humanity. Other species would look to Earth for protection and guidance. And somewhere out in unexplored space, there might be other enemies preparing to threaten the peaceful worlds of the galactic community. But Jake wasn't worried. Earth had 1,700 ships like the Liberty, each one crewed by humans who had learned the same lesson he had proven in battle. Sometimes one ship is all you need. If it's the right ship with the right crew at the right time. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest strength was never their technology or their weapons. It was their willingness to stand alone against impossible odds when someone needed to be protected. And as the Liberty headed home through the stars, Jake Sullivan knew that Earth would never again have to send just one ship because no one took them seriously. From now on, they would send one ship because one ship was enough.